let's hit the rewind button a couple days, because Zach, you were down in Brazil. Before we even get to the results of the game, just what was that like? That had to be, a super cool trip, far trip, longer flight, I believe, than RK's bus ride even.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience, right? Seeing like the actual game itself, the crowd, the Brazilian national anthem was really if the right word's touching to see. Like you see the sense of spirit in the crowd was notable, and it felt like a big game. I've covered Super Bowls, I've covered neutral site games, whether it's bowl games or games in Europe, and it felt like a big game atmosphere, and so it was cool being down there, and then obviously just being in Brazil. It's 13 years on the NFL beat. You kind of you get into a routine of Dallas and Chicago and Carolina. You go on down the list, right? Arizona, but Brazil's not. That's the first Sao Paulo dateline of my career. It was neat to see a different culture, eat good steak, and yeah, it was fun. But my body clock is all over the place. Right, I had an all nighter after the game, flew back, and you said the other day, like I'm trying to figure out what day the game was at this point. But it was an awesome experience. I'm grateful that I was able to be down there.
Who was your designated tweeter?
That was my wife, Emily. I was texting her the updates, and she was tweeting on my behalf. It was the first time she had ever tweeted before, and I think she got into the competitiveness of the NFL beat. Right, she was trying to beat the other writers and spouses even, and getting the information out there.
Wow! Did you guys see this? Diana Rossini called his wife and did a little mini story on this whole thing. She tweeted out this morning in a long tweet. We always say we don't want the reporters to ever become the story, but in this case it was kind of cool that your wife ended up becoming the story.
Yeah, it's funny. She's Sports Illustrated did something, and a handful of different places, and it's odd, because it was totally organic, right? She put out a tweet of her and my two children on the night before the game, or the I guess 2 nights before the game, being like, I'm controlling Zach's account, and she's enjoying her 15 seconds of fame, I suppose you can say. But I'm look, if there's anyone who deserves attention, it's my wife. So I'm thrilled to see that.
That is awesome.
I saw the story. I can't believe you're Emily's husband. I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either, right? I mean, I'm trying to say that way too.
I missed the story, so I got to go look at that right after this.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Diana. I appreciated her doing that.
Yeah, it's a amazing side story from the whole thing with tweeting not allowed in Brazil, and of course, all of us in sports in America. That's still pretty much the only reason why we're on that website.
I'll say this real quickly. It's kind of sick your muscle memory, because literally the Wi-Fi there, if you put in twitter.com or x.com, whatever it may be, right, it won't go to it. It'll constantly it won't go to the site. But invariably, when you get on your computer, you come up from the locker room or between downs, and you just put in the website, right? And you're like, oh, it's like muscle memory at this point to go to it. So it was kind of a I don't want to make any odd comparisons, but you realize how addicted you are to going to the site.
Yeah, 100%. Well, let's talk about the game a little bit too. Big win for the Eagles, 34-29. Of course, probably the biggest story of this game ended up being what happened at the very end with Jordan Love suffering what looked like could have been a catastrophic injury, and it's, at least at this point, is being labeled as an MCL and not season ending. But we'll have to wait and see how this plays out here. But in terms of the Eagles, Speaking of muscle memory, the muscle memory of the tush push did not seem to be the same without Jason Kelsey in there, and things looked a little bit different for Jalen Hurts. But obviously, in the end, I mean, it's a really good Week 1 win to beat the Packers. Really good team right off the bat. So, I mean, tell us all about it and what you saw down there, Zach.
Yeah, for all the Eagles fans who are in the chat and watching this, it's probably productive to hear your perspective on that, because sometimes it's like, when I'm on a show here with someone who covers the Bears and the Broncos and the Cardinals, it's like complaining about your yacht, when the franchise quarterback throws 2 interceptions, but the team scores 34 points, and there's complaints in the city. It was a sloppy game. It was clearly a sloppy game from Jalen Hurts. He had a bad interception, he had 2 bad interceptions, but like just decisions that he can't make. That's one side of the ledger. The other side, like I said, they scored 34 points, and they scored 34 points with a red zone interception. They were moving the ball against. I mean, the Packers had some problems on defense last year. Of course, that's why there was a coordinator change. But you had to be impressed with the way the Eagles looked overall. A.J. Brown, I'll put it this way, if I can put it succinctly, the Eagles are built around their stars playing like stars. And Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith played like stars. Saquon Barkley, you saw the difference going from the Giants to the Eagles. A.J. Brown dominated Jair Alexander. Devontae Smith was money in the fourth quarter. They had a late drive there where he had 2 first down conversions on big third down plays. And so when you kind of look at that, that's the recipe for the Eagles. The stars need to be stars.
Yeah, 100%. And I know Zach Bond had a big game too on the defensive side of things. I mean, this is a weird. Of all the games this weekend, I don't know what I would have made of this no matter what happened, just because teams don't normally have to fly that far to play any game, let alone, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter in Week 1 that it's Friday, but I don't know. The whole thing just seemed weird and not in a bad way, just different, that, circumstances you don't normally have to deal with in a country that I think came with a little bit more unknowns with the storylines leading up to it and all that. And so I'm really curious, Zach, how both of these teams bounce back. Obviously, if you're the Eagles, you're feeling a lot better about, life than the Packers, who might have Malik Willis starting their next game. But, just what's the Eagles' plan here for getting back, reacclimating? It's obviously Sunday night. And you mentioned the jet lag and all this stuff. I mean, it's not really jet lag because it's only 2 hour difference, or 1 hour difference even for you guys. But just the travel and everything, it's got to be a little weird kind of jumping back into another week here of NFL football.
Yeah, you framed it well. It was atypical. And the Eagles' travel schedule, they approached this essentially like a normal road game, in that they flew out. Now, they didn't fly out the day before. They flew out 2 days before, and then they flew back right after the game. So you're looking at like 20 hours of flying within 48, 56 hour span there. Even if you're not dealing with the jet lag, you're still dealing with the wear and tear, or the just what travel does to your body, the lack of a good night's sleep after the game, of course. So from the Eagles' perspective, though, the key is obviously that they win, and they view it almost like they have a mini bye, because the NFL gave them the Monday night game after this Friday night game, right? So the team had the weekend off. They don't really need to get back to practice in earnest until Thursday of this week. So you're 1-0. You get a chance to kind of refresh from this. And just in talking to people behind the scenes, the Eagles, if they had to do this trip, they're happy they were doing it Week 1 as opposed to like Week 9 or Week 11 or something like that, because they were able to plan for it. They're able to recover from it, and now they have time going into this Monday night game against Atlanta.
Yep, and that is the next game for them. Guys, do you have anything on this Eagles game before we move on and kind of just do some quick hits on the rest of the league? But if you guys have anything else on what happened Friday night, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I'll ask you what I asked the other guys, just more about the vibe in the city and the way that the fan base is feeling. As you all know, I'm going to be marrying a Eagles fan, and I was trying to say like, hey, this is one of those games that if you come out of there with a win, like you just be happy about it. It's week 1 in Brazil. Go ask Florida State what it's like to travel to a different country and play in week 1 where weird stuff happens. But Eagles fans, in my experience, it's not exactly how they operate.
Yeah, I should defer to you or defer to Allie, right? In terms of the kind of the vibe of the city. I'll say that overall, like the stakes of the season, it's similar to what we spoke with Jeff about. It's what do you do in the playoffs, right? Because this is a team where the expectations are to go deep. But I think in terms of, all right, what were you looking for in week 1? A big question was how this offense is going to look under Kellen Moore. Is Jalen Hurts going to look better? And I think the concern from the fan base is that Jalen still is that the problems that were there last December kind of snuck in at times with Jalen in this game. But like Adam said, Zach Bond plays well. The defense showed some more life under Vic Fangio, especially in the first quarter with 2 bad turnovers by the offense and forcing, I should say keeping the Packers to, field goals there. Packers were 1 of 4 in the red zone. So I think they feel better, obviously, relative to the last time they saw the Eagles. But this is still a fan base that needs to see more from Jalen Hurts and the offense.
Fair.
Yeah. Look, it's. I kind of didn't even really think about the fact that they have that Monday game coming up next. So yeah, they get a lot of time off here to just sort of chill. Those mini buys are underrated. I can't speak for all the teams. I know the Bears have openly almost requested having 2 Thursday night games the last couple of years. Like they've volunteered and said, yeah, we're good with that because the benefits of the mini buy. If you can handle having to turn around and play a football game in a couple days, and in this case, the Eagles didn't have to do that because it's week 1, and now to have all that time off afterwards, it can lead to a lot of benefits as well.
We all silly like the mayor.